Hello everyone. This video will go over the topics discussed during the Northern Star Town Hall of October 23rd. The speakers will mainly be Cepheus and Archangel, and this is made for our members who could not attend. We invite everyone to watch this video and learn more about us, however, so if you like what you hear and what the organization is about, don't hesitate to click our Discord link in the description below.
Hello, peeps. Welcome.
Pizza?
I know, right? So, for those that don't know me, I'm Archangel. I am one of the generals here. I focus primarily on the security side, and will be primarily running that aspect when I'm here. And then, obviously, most of you guys know Seth. So, today we're going to be jumping in here, and we're going to be kind of talking about a lot of the different things that are currently going on within the org, and what you guys have to look forward to, and things like that, as well as what we have going on here in the future. So the first part is going to be our operation levels and how things go there, which I will leave to Cepheus.
Yeah, so a lot of you have already heard about this, but this is kind of a recap for those who haven't heard the spiel. So for our operations, we break them up into 4 categories, 4 levels of op. Those of you from Nova might be a little bit familiar. Level 1 would be a casual op, and we'll just call them casual, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's not too serious. Drop in, drop out, come do some shit. Not really worried about making a whole lot of money, just having fun is the point, all that stuff. Level 2 is normal ops. That's kind of our standard. Most of our ops are normal. Those can also be drop in, drop out, but sometimes we'll have a coordinated start and start location. Excess bullshit is generally recommended to be avoided for those types of ops. So don't go, just shooting people and causing mayhem and all that. But, it's still a time to joke around and have fun, right? A level 3 is a hardcore op, which is where things get a little more serious. That's when we have an objective that we are there to complete. That is priority number 1, is be it make money, secure an objective, get something done, all of that stuff. These ops right now are very uncommon. That will be common in the future, especially once we have things like base building and logistic supply runs and all the cool stuff that we saw at SitCon. A lot of those heavy important tasks will be accomplished during hardcore operations. More on those later. And then finally we have roleplay story ops, which are kind of their own category. Their exact rules are specific to the exact op that it is. And those are used for lore-based stories. We haven't done any of those yet. We're working on some. And that's kind of the idea there, is that just depends. That's very specific, but those are outliers. For operations and frequency, Arc.
Yes. So currently we are still kind of in development of getting all these operations posted. As our command staff grows, you're going to see these become more regular. A lot of these operations, especially like the smaller ones that are like the combat related or mining ops, they will be running, and so it's going to be kind of up to them. During our command staff meeting, which will be next Wednesday, we will kind of discuss what we're running, frankly, on how often, and that's kind of based off the rank, things like that. So if like our sergeants are going to be required to do a certain number of ops and a certain kind of style of ops, where our lieutenants, colonels, and the higher ups are going to be more primarily focused on the larger scale ops, like the battleground ones. So, it'll all kind of be dependent on your rank. One of the operations that you'll hopefully start seeing here in the next month or so is the orientation op. So that is for those that were in Nova. It is like the beginner's guide to Nova. It's just, instead of us calling it the beginner's guide to Northern Star, we just call it Northern Star orientation. And so it'll be very similar to that. We'll go over, frankly, what we typically do with our town halls, like this kind of stuff. So there'll be a lot of that. and a ton of other content that will go over, uniforms, that jazz. But hopefully, our command staff is reviewing the final iteration of that orientation currently, and like I said, we have that meeting next week. We're going to finalize it hopefully next week and get started on it. Hopefully here in November. So keep an eye out for those. Those are going to be primarily for all those new members, and we may create a role internally here in Discord to showcase that, to say, hey, they've been through this. So it's a little bit easier to track, especially for newer players. So that's all I got for the operations and frequencies at the moment.
Okay. Next is our org fund and org funding stuff. We have an org treasury. For those of you who are new and don't know, it is an in-game account under the name Prysmcorp, in the same way that you've seen it spelt everywhere here. If you don't know how to spell that, please let me know. It is an in-game account with that name, and we're using it as our treasury. It works off of a donation and requisition system. So if you need some money, ask. I might be able to help provide. If you have extra money, feel free to donate. If you need either of those things, we have a channel in Discord called PC Requisitions. Please put your request and or donation there so I can add it to the log. I log things. The log is publicly accessible for whoever wants to see it. And the more money people donate, the more money I will have to give away. I'm not requiring donations in order to requisition, but like I said, the more people donate, the more I can give for people that need things. Let's see, do I talk about the referral program later, or is that now?
You can do it now.
That's now. Okay.
Yeah.
So in that same vein, we are currently running a referral program for the org, at least until 4.0, which is if you bring in a new member and they join us as a member, be it private or high citizen, doesn't matter, you get 2 million AUEC to either you, or you can defer it to whoever you bring in, or you can split it, I don't care. 2 million for you to do with what you please, per new member that you bring in. Every 5, you get an additional 5 million AUEC on top of the 2. So Zane, for example, got a lot for his contribution, and that is what we're trying to encourage, is bring in people, make a little bit of money. When a wipe probably happens in 4.0, this program is obviously going to stop, but whenever we get the fund built up back to a point where we can continue it again, we will. That is pretty much it I have for that.
So yes,
go ahead.
So just a question on regards in that funding and everything. Do those people need to stay a certain amount of time in the org, or is it like 24 hours, 1 week, a month?
I have not specified anything like that because it hasn't been a problem as of yet. If it becomes a problem, I'll deal with it then. Okay. But right now, I'm just trying to get people in.
No one abuse it.
Yeah, if someone abuses it, and that's why I keep a log, is not to make sure that I'm, only giving to people who have donated. It's a log so that I can see, hey, this person's recruited 40 people, but none of them are active, or like half of them leave 30 minutes after they join, That's what the log is for, is to see if somebody's only requisitioning, like you've requisitioned 50 million, but you've never contributed anything. Maybe I'm going to stop giving you money. Stuff like that. So, no, but if there comes a time, then maybe. I hope I answered your question. Cool.
Oh, yeah, you did. Thank you.
So next up is our squadron types, badges, and roles. We also kind of have the dubbed career paths, which might actually turn into something now that we have kind of the 4.0 and the path to 1.0 here, and seeing what they're bringing in game. So currently we, all of our command staff is reviewing. We're kind of discussing our squadron types, what we want, for security, for Prysmcorp, and such. So over the course of the next couple of weeks, hopefully we'll see more content out of that. We, like for example, the security, team, we are meeting in 2 weeks. And that's one of our topics of discussion, is finalizing our squadron types. The badges and roles, it's primarily and slash career paths focuses on, like what you do within the org. So it depends on like the academies you go through, your the abilities that you have, things like that. It kind of goes along with the flight certs that Seth will talk about here in a minute. But it allows us to be able to kind of keep track of, okay, hey, somebody's gone through the training and actually knows this, and they'll get a badge within Discord that we can be able to track and, utilize there, so that when we have these larger scale operations, such as like the battlegrounds ops and, large mining operations and things like that, especially with the addition of Pyro, and thinking about long-term stuff, it'll allow us to be able to kind of have a way of tracking that. These squadrons, though, so currently the way we have things set up is that squadrons will command staff and squadrons will increase as player base increases. So, for example, in the U.S. side right now, we currently have 2 squadrons. We have the Spectres, which is our combat squadron, and we have the give me a second, Prysmcorp Logistics, which is obviously Prysmcorp's squadron. When those hit 80%, then we will talk about adding new sergeants, adding new squadrons, and so on and so forth. The reason why we said 80% is so that we have squadrons that are full and that are actually active. We don't have 10 squadrons and only really 2 of them have active players. The rest of them have like 1 or 2 players and there's nothing going on. We want squadrons to be that filled with activity and have that ability in there. So a lot of our ranking structure and our squadrons are based off of our growth as an org. Our goal is not to just willy-nilly promote people left and right and, do that. We want to make sure that we have leadership for the amount of people that we have within our org, and that we show that activity and that our leadership's part of that activity. So our squadrons will kind of reflect that. Any questions on that? And speaking of that, Zane,
how many members in each squadron?
So actually, that's a good. Let me bear with me as I find my document here. I believe right now we have 15 members per squadron. Where, Jesus, founding documents
with exceptions.
Yes, that's primarily for Navy is our exception here. So the way this is kind of a basic layout, and this is kind of one of our founding documents. So squadrons are 15-man teams. They're led by a sergeant, and then a number of and that number is kind of designed to allow that sergeant to lead 2 7-man fire teams. In theory, those teams would be led by private first classes, and then the squadrons will focus on a specific gameplay. This doesn't mean that you can't dabble in other gameplays, obviously. From there, we have our platoons, which will be a total of 3 squadrons led by a lieutenant. And then past that, you have your battalions, which are composed of 3 or more platoons. And those are led by the captains and higher. So the reason we kind of did this way is more of a standard of coverage for leadership abilities, because we want to make sure that you're not getting overtaxed as a command staff, and so that you have enough people that are in there. Part of the reason why we also went with 15 is because I know back in, for some of us that were in Nova, we had an issue with obviously our squadrons sometimes seeming too small. And so we decided that we wanted to kind of bump that up a little bit, get that 15-man team. Navy's a little different. That's one of those things that we are still kind of working out how we want to operate, mainly because with Navy squadrons, especially when we get some of these larger capital ships in, 15 people are not going to be able to operate one of these large capital ships in theory. Probably can, but we want to obviously grow as we develop. So Navy's kind of that. Yes, they will have squadrons, but they were going to be leaning more towards the platoon size. And if you get into the security side, we'll kind of discuss that a little bit more as we develop that, because we're still hashing out the details on that one. So that answers your question.
Yeah, perfect. And I did have a question about career paths that just kind of
Yes.
before we go on. Can you go through multiple career paths
Yeah.
irrespective of
I'll show you guys kind
squadron?
of our basis right now of like the career paths. And again, this is all straight up still in theory. You'll see that we have highlights and things like that we're still working on. But like for military, for the security side of stuff, we have like the Air Force. They have pilots, defenders, guardians, strikers, Top Gun, meaning you've completed all of those badges. Navy, this is not the correct list for Navy, so ignore that. But then you go down here to like the Rangers, and we have our list here. These are all subject to change at the moment because we haven't had a security command meeting, and so we're still kind of discussing and ironing out the details on that. And right now we're actually thinking about looking at all three of those branches, and technically all five because medical and intelligence are part of us as well. But looking at that and creating a list of career paths that are cross-compatible with all of those branches, as well as having ones that are specific to each branch. Because obviously, turret operators are primarily Navy, where, you may have one for Rangers, but you're not, that kind of thing. So we're going to have ones that are obviously cross-compatible between the branches. There are going to be some that are primarily Rangers. There are going to be some that are primarily Air Force, some that are Navy, that kind of thing. But we're trying to create a list of those that then those badges will correlate to our academies and what kind of training you need to go through, whether that be just a self-guided study or whatever on how things operate and then doing certain operations. So again, a lot of this stuff is still in concept. We're still trying to finalize the details on it, but this is kind of what the 1.0 version of it looked like when we first started this. So, and hopefully too, as we progress and we get the stuff in game as well with the guilds and things like that, we can reevaluate some of these things and kind of correlate that to what's going on in game for us to be able to allow that in game as well.
Okay, cool. So the badges would be, I guess, hierarchical branch and then career path and then squad.
Correct.
Or squadron then career path. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
So and then even like in the squadrons, you may have all the badges or whatever, and then your sergeant or whatever may have you in a specific role in your squadron. So it just kind of that'll be up to the command staff that's in charge of you that will lead that, and that's in charge of them to be able to kind of develop their squadron the way they want. So
sounds good. Thanks.
Yeah. Seth, looks like you're up with your flight certs.
Okay, so next up is part of what I mentioned earlier. I said more on hardcore operations. This is that. In regards to hardcore operations, we are implementing a system. It's actively in testing and in development for flight, like pilot certifications. Drawing on my experience as a real-life airplane flight instructor for about 3.5 years, I am developing this basically document template guide for ensuring competent pilots for ships of strategic value during critical operations. Let's say it that way.
So a lot of expensive words.
A lot of expensive words. So basically the gist of it is that during hardcore operations only, critical supply run coming from Pyro, the base needs supplies, etc. Hercules full of replacement vehicles for a ground pounder op somewhere, a whole E full of tens of millions of UEC worth of cargo. Take your pick, right? The idea is that if a loss of a ship will cause significant loss either in money or time to the org, its pilot should need to be verified that they can operate that ship. So that's where the Flight Cert program comes in. If you look at my profile on Discord, you'll notice that I have roles, which are the ship types, as do a few other people. So pretty much any large size ship or ship capable to, cause a headache if it were to get destroyed, we're going to have certification required for hardcore ops only. To be clear, you do not need to be certified to fly either small ships or your own ships on your own time. This may also come into effect when like loaning ships or org-owned ships are a thing. If you're going to fly an org-owned Kraken, you would probably want to make sure you're not going to wreck it. But that's, for later down the road. Right now, it's hardcore ops. So we have a system of the certification, test effectively, which can also be training if you need to learn how to fly that particular kind of ship versus just verifying your ability. It's designed to only take an hour, maybe 2 tops, to get you certified, and then you're good pretty much forever unless a significant change dictates that you be reevaluated for any reason, like a game change, something like that.
Like changes from the HUD to the MFD.
I wouldn't even require a recert for that. Just kind of like if something happened to totally change the handling of the ships. Really, that's really it. Which hasn't happened yet. I wouldn't even call master modes that. Getting there, but not quite. And you're hot miking, Derek.
Sorry.
It's all good. So as we grow and this system becomes more involved, more necessary, we'll have a network of pilot examiners who will be in charge of conducting these evaluations, as well as pilot administrators who will be in charge of designating the evaluators, kind of how the real life pilot certification system works in at least the United States. So this is basically just a reminder that this exists, and if you guys are interested in any particular ship certifications, you can find my document in the PC Documents channel that you all should have access to in the Discord. Take a look. If there's a ship on there that you would like to get a certification for, please let me know. As I said in the beginning, I'm still developing the system, so we're making adjustments as we conduct the tests and find problems with them. We're kind of adjusting and refining the process so that when the time comes where we really need a lot of pilots who are verified that they won't crash the Kraken, we'll be kind of up and running and we'll have people who can fit the bill. That said, my final footnote is I will say these tests are not pass-fail. They are what we call trained to proficiency in my industry. So if you come to me saying you want a reclaimer certification and you crash the reclaimer, it's not a you failed, try again next month. It's a hey, if we got the time, why don't we figure out why you crashed, talk about it, see if we can get you to not do that again, and then pass you, kind of thing. So it's not that serious. I'm not trying to break any hearts here or send anybody home upset. Just a way to make sure that our large-scale operations in the future, where failure is bad, that we have the best crew possible operating these ships. That's my spiel.
Well,
if nobody has questions, Ark?
Yep. So fleet yards. So most of you guys have already seen fleet yards. You guys have already posted your ships in, which is fucking awesome because my God, if you guys haven't looked, holy shit. We have a lot. And it's fucking awesome. So I appreciate that. But what fleet yards is, it's primarily just for all of us to be able to see, hey, what do we have? What do we have that we can utilize? And who owns them? So that we can kind of keep track of that a little bit more. It's awesome. It's a cool way, especially to be able to see some of the ships that we have as an org, that we can do some crazy shit with once they obviously get in the game. So if you guys haven't done that yet, feel free. I think we got a link somewhere for it we can send out.
Number general.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you there, Caboose. That we can you guys will have that available for you to be able to utilize. So but it's a pretty cool program. Allows you to tie your RSI account to it. So but yeah.
So what next? The marketing?
Yep.
I'll let you do that one.
So, our marketing division currently, and you guys will see it here in just a minute. But Darth Toga is going to be our head of marketing, for the tentative future. Really our marketing and promotion stuff. So we, collect photos, anything that you guys post into the media channel, from in-game content and stuff like that. We ask that you guys allow us to use that for any marketing and PR that we have for the org. cool thing with it is obviously, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but we had a video done recently by Akoree and by Darth as well. They did a fantastic job on putting that thing together, and we posted that. It was kind of our org promotional video, trailer, commercial, whatever you want to call it. And then we have another one here for the spooky season coming hopefully here soon. So we got some really good content. Darth's been doing really good when it comes to our newsletter and then our promotional pamphlet as well. So we have some really cool things going on there. If you guys are interested in writing articles, things like that for our news report, feel free to reach out to her, as we are always looking for more things. Our marketing team is meeting actually later tonight to finish kind of developing our marketing plan and make sure we have a solid foundation and groundwork for what we want to do in the future. So.
And that leads us to promotions. We have a segment of all of our town halls where we announce any promotions that people have got. As far as our ranks goes, we've got private first class, the upgrade from which basically just makes you more likely to be selected to lead a fire team if you're private first class, stuff like that. Just, if there's a little sub-leadership role that needs to be selected, if you're a PFC, you'll be selected over a regular private. Basically just shows you've been here for a little while, kind of how we work. It does not come with any leadership obligations of any kind. Just, point you out as someone who kind of knows the ropes a little bit around here. So that said, we've got 2 promotions from private to private first class that we're going to announce today. That is Devious Nope, who I don't believe is here today, but he's been here for a little bit. He's participated in a bunch of ops. If you guys haven't met him, he's good fun to be around. And then the other person is Derek Trentz, who is being promoted to private first class. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Anyone who private first class kind of gives you the first in for leadership. If you desire a role of leadership within the org, make PFC first. We kind of state 6 months as the general time requirement to go from private to private first class. That said, I am more than happy to fast track people to private first class if they're active and involved and enthusiastic. That's what I look for. You do not have to be here for 6 months to upgrade. Just show me that you care and are dedicated. All of that stuff. Furthermore, we've got 2 promotions to Sergeant, which are both on the EU side. We're promoting Zerma and Angel Wolf to Sergeant to assist Zane in leading the EU time zone division of Northern Star. We've got 1 captain promotion. We're promoting Jellyfish to captain. He's going to be our new Prysmcorp head of salvage.
Thank you.
So he plans on starting a weekly salvage operation. Please do keep an eye out for those, either participating as salvage or protection, I'm sure is always welcomed. And then finally, we've got Zane, who is effective right now, the first colonel of Northern Star, and he will be basically leading the entire org for the EU time zone. So if anybody in the EU time zone needs something and it's 3 a.m. United States time, Zane can give you those answers. Not specific to Prysmcorp or Northern Star security, just the org as a whole, but EU. And then, as we mentioned before, Darth Vertoga is, as effective now, head of marketing. So congratulations to everybody who got promotions.
Thank you.
Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congrats.
Congrats, guys.
And like I said before, anybody who desires a leadership role, message me, talk to me, tell me you want to lead. I can't promise an immediate promotion for everybody because we're trying to scale things as we grow. But if you let me know your interest in becoming a leader of something, as we grow, as we open more squadrons, as we get more specific and diverse in our gameplay, we will need leaders for these things. And I won't forget you. Your, interest will be noted, and when the time comes, you'll get what you want. We want people who are interested in leadership roles to be the people doing leadership roles. Final thing I'll add, aside from the promotions, is I want feedback about an idea that we've had, which is Miss Vortoga to open a Northern Star store for physical merchandise. I'm here to gauge interest on stuff like T-shirts with Northern Star logos on them, personalized with your own name on there if you'd like, or whatever you want on there. We can talk about rank emblems on there too if you want. Basically, the sky's the limit on what we can do with that. But I want suggestions on what we can include. I myself, and by proxy her, have access to a 3D printer, a heat press vinyl transfer thingy-madoodle, and a commercial grade embroidery machine. So lots of options that would be sold at as reasonable prices we could make it. Materials and a little bit for time. Basically, we're not trying to get rich off of anybody. And if anybody has ideas about what kind of things we could include on the store, DM me or Darth Vortoga about it, and we'll see if we can make it happen. That said, question that I'm sure I will be asked about is, can we sell ship models? And the thing is I would love to, but there's two problems. JRDF, the company that is currently licensed to CIG to sell ship models, is taking down every 3D model file of a ship that they can find on the internet. I do have a few, not all of the ships, but I have a few ships that I do have models for that I technically can print, but my printer is not resin, it's FDM. So the quality of the prints is not fantastic. That said, if you want one of the ships that I do have models for, and you want one printed and you want one sent to you, it will be inexpensive, and I cannot promise particular quality. I have a few that I've printed. I'm happy to send you pictures. That said, don't expect fantastic quality or anything like that. I'm not JRDF. So check them out. They are cool. They have a licensing agreement. They're allowed to take down other 3D models. But our focus will be like T-shirts, knickknacks, logos, hats. Anything else you guys come up with, let me know.
Coffee cups, wine glasses.
Whatever, I could probably get access to a laser etching machine and a sandblaster too. So I don't know for sure about that, but I'll have to see. So yeah, whatever you guys want, let me know. And we can see about doing it. We'll look at opening that shop sometime soon. And let me know if you guys want this. If nobody's going to be interested in buying anything from a shop, then we won't open it. It's not that big of a deal. I just want to make sure that it's a good idea and everybody agrees with it before we go and commit money and time and effort to it. Next up, no, go ahead.
How much would you be charging for a 1 on 325 Kraken?
Say that one more time.
How much would you be charging for a 1 on 325 Kraken? So scale 1 to 325.
That might be a little beyond my capability.
He's coming out with this big dick energy. Like, I want.
Yeah. Tell you what, if we can raise $18 million, I will build a 1-to-1 scale Kraken. No, you know what? I need to be careful saying that, because you crazy motherfuckers will actually pull some shit like that off.
Yeah, we're going for
let me retract that statement real quick.
I clipped it. It's now a thing.
Guys, click off space. Steph, will it be a functional model?
No.
Dude, that's it. We're out.
I am a pilot, not an aerospace engineer.
Yeah, Seth, if it relates to funding raised, be careful what you say around the EU crowd.
Yeah.
No, it'll be fully functional, but it's also well known that it can't leave atmosphere, so it'll be lore accurate.
I don't think it'd leave the ground. It would be more. It would be in-game accurate in that I would print you out a 1-to-1 scale PNG, JPEG, giant piece of paper, and then ship it. So that's what you'd get.
A lot of ink.
Oxygen not included.
Yeah, right. But anyways, that's that for the store stuff. Please give feedback about that as much as y'all want. And yeah, next up for Arc.
Yeah, so just kind of some notes for you guys so that you kind of see what we got going on here. So we are shooting to have kind of general town halls similar to this about once every other month. More just to keep our biggest thing was keeping transparency. So we wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of what's going on in the org, any major changes, any developments, like our academies, things like that. So we try to post those or try to have these regularly to kind of showcase all that stuff. We also are trying to host command staff meetings roughly every month. It's been kind of hesitant lately just because we have been all kind of developing everything on our own. So those will be coming back a little bit more often here soon. I know like next week we have our command staff meeting, and then the week after I have a meeting with the security command. So there's a lot going on, a lot of different things happening. But we try to have those regularly. With those, including our town hall meetings, all of our command staff meetings, all of them have meeting agendas and notes that will be done for every single one of them. Those will be then posted in the Discord. There's a town hall section that we actually will post all of the meeting minutes and agendas. And that is because, again, we are trying to have that transparency across the board. We want everybody to feel like they are part of the org and know what's going on. Part of that is so like there's kind of two sections in the town hall section here. Let me look it up here. So you have the town hall, which is just a straight up area that people can post comments, suggestions, concerns, that aspect. And then you have the meeting minutes section is where we post everything. So you guys are always more than welcome to look in that kind of stuff, see what we've got going on there. But usually those meeting minutes get posted within a few days of the meeting actually occurring, just so that we can make sure that we have everything typed in there correctly. And before we just willy-nilly post it on there and forget that we may have had the wrong date on it. Because like this one, for example, if you can't see, it says the copy of Town Hall. And it's not the actual date. So, but we do like to post this stuff and make sure that we keep that transparency, because that's one big thing that we wanted to push right from the get-go, is making sure everybody felt welcomed and felt like they're part of the decision-making process. So let's see here. Just some other items too. If you guys take photos, videos, things like that in game, feel free to drop those in the media channel. Obviously, the operations are going to be posted here soon. That's going to be sergeants at hire. They're going to be the ones posting that. And then obviously the command staff is continuing to work on our to-do list on everything that we're doing.